It is official. All right. All right. I'm gonna get settled in real quick. Shalom Yasharala Yabrakam Yabashamashika Shawa Kolha Rataza, which means in all the earth. All right. So I have a very interesting document that I would like to read, and we're gonna start right here. This is military.com. All right. And salute to all of you hardworking, retired military and police officers that are Hebrew Israelites or centurions who are doing absolutely nothing to bring out information that you all have insight to. Uh, I just want to salute all of you because we recognize that you took an oath to protect this government, to protect this country, to protect your nation, to protect your job, and we want to say thank you sincerely. I want to say thank you sincerely to all of you retired military and Air Force and Army and all those good uppity ranking people that the scriptures call centurions. All right, there were two centurions that came over to Christ and asked them, "What must they do to be saved?" So, salute to you all. Uh, the reason why I say this is because a lot of these cats, they got information access to, links and websites that we just don't have. We just don't know anything about. I am a very limited source of information type of person, and unfortunately, you can't give what you ain't got, right? As they say, you can't give what you ain't got. So this is what I do have. All right, this website I want to share with you right here is called Military Religious Freedom. Military Religious Freedom. I feel like there was more to that name. I feel like there was more to it. Let's go to this. Let me see. Yeah, Military Religious Freedom. Yeah, Foundation. Military Religious Freedom Foundation. And salute to them for all of their hard work that they do for attempting to help people that's in the military, but that's going through situations. I want to read something that President Trump uh, is currently having going on. And I don't know if you all know this, but this dude is being equal to Christ. All right. If you can see the picture that's up here, you know, you'll be able to see that this is pretty serious. So, his regime is absolutely considered as a joke. All right. But what's even worse is that the people that he's having to operate under him are terrorists, man. They're straight monsters, Military Religious Freedom Foundation. All right. Let me show you this. This is some of the propaganda that's going on right now in the nation that's being bombed, the millions that's being destroyed. I know some brews be like, I don't care, wipe them all out the land. We got to go back. The scriptures also say, woe unto them who look for, call for the day of the Lord, for the day of the Lord is a day of darkness, it's a day of terror. You know what I'm saying? But, so we got to have a just mind in these situations. I want y'all to look at this real quick. These are the images that's being dropped right now, right? And this is what's going on is you have these officers, right? All right. You have these men and women that's in the military, and what they're doing is they're saying, listen, this is what we're seeing behind lines. You all aren't seeing this, but we're telling y'all this is what's happening. That's bad. That's bad. When the internal are telling you, when non-commissioned officers, okay, when non-commissioned officers are saying, look, outside of non-commissioned officer, upper ranking officers, all right, no one is more professional than I. I am a non-commissioned officer, a leader of soldiers. As a non-commissioned officer, I realize that I am a member of a time-honored corps, which is known as what? The backbone of the Army. I am proud of the corps, of the non-commissioned officers, and will at all times conduct myself so as to bring credit upon the corps, the military service, and my country, regardless of the situation in which I find myself. I will not use my grade or position to attain pleasure, profit, or potential safety, personal safety. Competence is my watchword. My two basic responsibilities will always be uppermost in my mind: accomplishment of my mission and the welfare of my soldiers. I will strive to remain technically and tactically proficient. I am aware of my roles as a non-commissioned officer. I will fulfill my responsibilities inherited in that role. All soldiers, listen, some of your fathers and mothers, some of your best friends, some of your so-called elders have made this claim. You have military officials and professionals that are coming out. This is what they had to come out. Let me read this to you, because I also want to read to you all what they're saying about Donald Messiah Trump. Donald Messiah Trump. I want to read what they're saying. So what we're reading is the non-commissioned officer, NCO's creed. All soldiers are entitled to outstanding leadership. I will provide that leadership. I know my soldiers, and I will always place their needs above my own. I will communicate consistently with my soldiers and never leave them uninformed. I will be fair and impartial when recommending both rewards and punishment. Officers of my unit will have a maximum time to accomplish their duties. They will not have time to accomplish mine. I will earn their respect and confidence as well as that of my soldiers. I will be loyal to those who I serve, seniors, peers, and subordinates alike. I will exercise initiative by taking appropriate action in the absence of orders. I will not compromise my integrity nor my moral courage. I will not forget. I will follow my commands, my comrades. I will not forget, nor will I allow, because I'm not going to follow my comrades if they forget. Let me read that again. I'm not following. Some people I won't even follow across the street no more. But let's listen to the NCO's creed. All right. I will not forget, nor will I allow my comrades to forget that we are professionals, non-commissioned officers, leaders. I don't know if they go hoo-ah after that or, but I want to save this link for you because I like to share things. And why are we reading that? Because this is what now the non-commissioned officers, some of you may be like, oh, well, he's taking that jab at those of us Hebrew Israelites that's in the military. I'm not. I salute you all that's in the military. Thank you for your services. Thank you for what you do for others. All right. There's the link right there. All right. You'll be able to see it. You'll be able to get it. Now let's go to this next part because this is very important that I show you this. This is what the non-commissioned officers and the officers that are in the military are now sharing, exposed. You talking about whistleblowing. Me and a couple of other NCOs, non-commissioned officers, were going through some things in the work area of our BN headquarters. Here there's the location right there, installation withheld. And we discovered a poster of Jesus. We discovered a poster of Jesus firing a mortar round that was left over by the previous unit that we rotated in place. Rotated into replace battalion. And then it gives the name right here. See, these NCOs, man, stand up, man. Stand up, man. Round of applause for the NCOs, man. I was actually going for the military when I was younger. I wanted to be an MP, man. I wanted to be a military police MP. And my tattoos was past my gig line at the time. So I wasn't able to go in, man. It was like, well, what's up with those tattoos? I'm like, man, that's a lifelong pass to go, man. And I was like, well, we won't be able to accept you because you're. And I had all my training, PT, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? My testing was good. You know what I'm saying? Just where the Most High wanted me, I guess. Somebody got to be boots on the ground in the truth, I guess. Somebody was like, if you would have went to the military, you would have been a jerk. I was like, I'm already a jerk. I mean, it was like, well, you would have went to the military, you would have been an international jerk. I'm already an international jerk. Anyway, long story short, a whole bunch of funny stuff. These are the officers, these NCOs that gave this report. This is where they're located. They no names. This is the the name of the battalion that was before them. These are the ones who are promoting it. Look at this. Battalion 20th Infantry Regiment. What is that? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60th. All right. Brigade Combat Team out of Conus U.S. military installation. Now, we can take these and look these up, or some of your military buddies, friends, police, and officers, whatever, they can do that because they got access to this stuff. We are only civilians that are out here that are seeing these things that the Lord is presenting, so we can warn you. This is what's going on over there. Can you imagine that? I mean, we know that's propaganda. Well, it gets a little deeper than just propaganda. It gets a lot of bit deeper than propaganda. Let's look at this real quick. You have lawmakers, which I usually don't get into politics and stuff like that, but the scriptures led me to this because of prophecy. You know what I'm saying? Lawmakers want Department of Defense has get investigated for biblical Armageddon claims. And that might not sound like nothing to you. It's like, oh, okay. Okay, they talk about that all the time. But I think this is a little bit different. The people that are in office are nutcases that are blowing up children and trying to make themselves look like their suit fits. And it's not working. More than 24 Democratic members of Congress are requesting an internal investigation of the Department of Defense regarding claims from uninformed officers that commanders have painted the current war in Iran as one rooted in Christian biblical prophecy. A complaint shared by an anonymous non-commissioned officer to who? The Military of Religious Freedom Foundation, MRFF, claimed that non-commissioned officers were told that Iran's war was a part of God's plan and that President Trump was anointed by Jesus. Let's stop this right here. Anointed by Jesus. Now, if you want to, you can read the rest of that page. We're definitely going to read on. I also want to get to the meat of this. So we're going to go straight to the source. We're going to go to the Military Religious Freedom Foundation. And see, this is what really shows you where people are at. Some of these men and women have made a stance that's so staunch to the government that they would literally not only withhold this information from you knowing it, but they will also suppress it from even mentioning it. I don't know how else to say. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. These people that are in the military and the social service, what I don't know, whatever, man. It's just so sick, man, because this isn't tabloid information. All right, look at this, man. Let's read this first one. All right. Worldwide coverage of MRFF clients' complaints of commanders pushing for end-time prophecy as reason for Iran's war enters fourth week. Now, again, we are not on a tabloid website, even though you got this. It's not a tabloid. AI generated images. White Jesus, coming in on a different horse in the different crusades. You know, but let's see what's being said. The language being reported is not subtle. It echoes the medieval crusades when European politics and religions were framed to justify military campaigns in the Middle East as sacred missions sanctioned by God. Those wars waged between the 11th and the 13th centuries were fueled by a potent mix of religious fervor, political ambition, and uh, apocalyptic expectations. The results was centuries of bloodshed, mass displacement, and cultural devastation. Kwame Asharala. So I can't speak for every culture, which all nations have been through something, but not as Israel has been, which is prophesied in the book of Daniel. So I can say that all Yasharala, all nations have been through something, but not like Israel. With these wars and these, and even with this, if they're coming from a biblical perspective, then that the children of Israel will be the targets. We are currently being targeted. Whether you want to listen, ICE in the airport station, yo, you know how mad crazy that is? ICE in the airport station, they are not trained for TSA and for traveling. And listen, man, you got the perverse minds of these people. This is all biblical prophecy being fulfilled. Our brother IQOP should be reporting on this. Mass displacement and cultural devastation has happened to the children of Israel. The parallels are unsettling. Then, as now, leaders invoke divine authorities to justify military action. As now, soldiers were told that they were fighting, not merely for territory or strategy, but to fulfill God's will. And then, as now, such framing risk transforming geopolitical conflict into existential winding widening and unending struggle between forces of claimed good and accused evil. This is op-ed in Daily Herald in Utah. There's the report for that. Let's read down. Conversations. All right. Now let's read. All right. Military Religious Freedom Foundation. Evangelical Holy War, Why Some Christians Think Trump Will End the World. Article excerpt. Soldiers in the United States Armed Forces have lodged more than 100 complaints with Military Religious Freedom Foundation, MRFF, stating that their commanders are using extremist religious rhetoric to describe the U.S. Israel war against Iran. You see how it's stated? It's the U.S. Israel war against Iran. And I want to let y'all know Iran is all in the Torah portion. All in it. When you hear that saxophone go up in the 90s hood movie, you know something about to go down. Run, Trey, or whoever. Ricky, that saxophone music go up. According to some complaints, American military commanders have told their troops the attack on Iran is a holy war. And that U.S. President Donald Trump was, look at this, anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to earth. I had to read that. You black people better wake up, man. You African Americans, Negroes, you North American Indians, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, those, etc., sold into captivity, North, South, Central America, into the interior Africa. I don't give a dag if you call yourself a Wandingu, a Wandugu, or whatever, whatever. Listen, the world better wake up right now to the Jew first, then to the Gentile. All right. The signs of Yahweh Shai coming are everywhere, not just in this civil unrest, but this man being claimed by his military leaders, which the Jewish organization, etc., I guess Trump was anointed by them and prayed over for so that he could bring Jesus' coming. The world better get it together, man. Listen, man. What Shofar say? I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Listen, each one needs to individually begin with our own relationship with Yahweh. Deuteronomy chapter 4. All right, start at verse 7. Okay. Listen to this. In a recent interview with Democracy Now!, the MRFF, Military Religious Freedom Foundation's president, Mikey Weinstein, said that the foundations was inundated, I apologize, was inundated with calls from soldiers indicating that commanders across the armed forces were euphoric because the war would serve a way to bring their version of weaponized Jesus back. Come on, man. This is why they say that the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. The word devil means deceiver. Get out your bag, man. Listen, man. We have a nation that's right now trying to call down the apocalypse. Obviously having no idea, no sincere idea, you know what? I don't want to click this video because I don't want to. I got something I want to pull up. You have some that are fighting for truth. You have some that are fighting for Satan. And they're doing it under the guise of Jesus Christ. This is ridiculous. Jesus Christ. Daily Maverick, South Africa. Iran and Armageddon. U.S. extremists believe war is part of God's plan. March 22nd, 2026, article excerpts. While fears of retaliation by Muslim extremists in Iran and their regional proximities continue to plague the West as Middle East configuration intensifies, the incendiary behavior, of other extremists, including white, look, they put it right, including white nationalists and Christian Zionists, has largely been overlooked. The Military Religious Freedom Foundation, MRFF, in the U.S. has received about 200, so it went up, 200 complaints from soldiers about their military commanders telling them to attack Iran is part of God's plan. This morning, we should be sharing the screen. This morning, our commander opened the combat readiness status briefing. Listen to this. We're going to begin today our combat readiness status briefing. Everybody hold on to your hats. I want to make sure if you're a Jew, you have your fringes sealed on tight, and all of you Muslims, make sure that you got your prayer rugs ready. If you're a Christian, hold on to your crosses. You good men and women of the United States military branches of each and every one of your dividing forces have made an oath and a pledge and obligation to serve this country, and you will serve this country well. You will keep your obligation. Is that clear? Sir, yes, sir. Men and women, we will be fighting a holy war. This morning, we will be urging you to not be afraid. Do not be afraid, men and women. Now you look at the crowd and they like, be afraid. Did the commander say, don't be afraid? What? We're taught to not be afraid. Why would he tell me to be afraid? Urging us to not be afraid as to what will happen with our combat operations in Iran right now. One soldier said, he urged us to tell our troops that this war was all a part of God's divine plan. He specifically referenced numerous citations from, look at this, the book of Revelations, referring to Armageddon and the imminent return of Jesus Christ. He said that President Trump has been anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon to mark his return to earth. 30 Democrats have subsequently asked for an investigation to take place. You all hear this? Listen, if you think Donald Trump is working alone outside from what's happening in the celestials, you think Donald Trump and the military don't know about what's going on in space. You think 3i Atlas went anywhere. You think the fact that the Atlantic Ocean is having earthquakes in it, the South Atlantic anomaly, the fact that there's a chain of volcanoes going off around the world, civil unrest, the Booga sphere falling from the sky. Now you got fireballs falling from the sky. The last time that happened was in Sodom and Gomorrah, as far as I remember. Fireballs. Over 1,000 have been reported. Over 1,000 have been reported just in 2026, falling from the sky all over the world. These heathens know what they talking about. These men and women that are not for the Most High, that are of all different races, nationalities, cultures, and creeds, they are going to try to stand up and go to war against the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. 2nd Ezra chapter 13, KJV. They're going to try to go to war against the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? We've been reading about this all this time. Listen, there really is. I can pull up the website right now. There really is a United States Space Force. They'll give you a car and they'll give you a house. Join anything. Join anything right now. Listen, they about to reinstitute felons carrying guns. You can't stop felons from carrying guns. They about to make it legal again for felons to carry guns. It's over with. It's over with. Wild, wild west. Look at this. This is the scripture about the coming of Christ. Now the military are teaching their soldiers about revelations and the coming of Christ. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13. 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 7. But I would have seen the region or the place whereabout the hill was graven, and I could not. I believe that is Mount Zion, the New Jerusalem. Verse 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid. But look at what they're going to do. And yet durst fight. Look at that. It's right there. And yet durst fight. And yet still try to fight. The military of the world, from Revelations to the Apocrypha, they're not going to deviate from their plan. And we can't deviate from ours. They told us that the language being reported is not subtle, that is close to the conversation speech that they use in the Crusades. They are sending pictures in Iran of white Jesus, which I love this. Let white Jesus do his thing. Caesar Borgia at his finest. Cesare Borgia was a madman. He was a murderer. Let him do his thing. Let him do his thing. Look at this real quick. A black and white. Look, another indication of America's war in Iran is being cast as Christian terms, reportedly has emerged from the ranks of U.S. military. A poster showing a mortar round being fired by a stereotypical Western version of Jesus, by white Jesus, was found at a U.S. Army battalion headquarters at an undisclosed installation outside the U.S. when the new troops rotated in. The Military Religious Freedom Foundation told me today. The black and white poster appears to have been produced within the last year, as it bears the watermark of a social media account that posted a colored version with the same watermark in May 2025. The Pentagon did not immediately respond to the request for comment. I bet they didn't. Let's see real quick. White Jesus dropping mortar round posters. Oh, it pops right up. Oh, it pops right up. Oh, it pops right up. Military.com, military religious freedom, military. Jonathan Larson. Oh. Okay, well, he's getting help by Jesus. Oh, this is 3 days. So this is fresh off the press. Nothing new under the sun, I guess. Anything else front? Look, that's crazy, man. So they're showing you what their true intention is to steal, kill, and destroy. Okay. According to the MRFF president and founder, Mikey Weinstein, displaying the poster in a common area displaying the poster in a common area violated Pentagon guidelines. People should be court-martialed for allowing this, Weinstein said, but they won't. They stick to the blue code. Crooked officers stick together. That's what happened. Well, watch the movies. They take the good cop out and they blow his brains out in the alley, and the crooked cops all work together. They have the next upcoming officer come in and they say, "Hey, we're gonna take a ride." Hey, what are we taking a ride for? I don't even know you. Hey, we're just gonna take a ride. You know, I say, hey, I know you from hey, you seen your social media. Yeah, I know you. Hey, I just want to ride with you. And the wicked other crooked cops take the good reporter, the good officers, and they blow their brains out in the alley. This is exactly you have good officers that are out here. You have good officers that really want to help and put in the work. Listen, President Weinstein also said that the poster's alleged placement meant that high-ranking brass, up to and including generals, would have seen it and presumably wouldn't didn't have it taken down. In this case, the combat battalion was rotated into the military installation outside the U.S. The whistleblower wrote an email that MRFF, Military Religious Freedom Foundation, then reacted and shared with me. We're going to read on because we got some reading to do. Me and a couple of NCOs where, okay, we already read this earlier. All right, we read this earlier. All right, but we're going to read again. Me and a couple NCOs, non-commissioned officers, we're going through some things in the work area of our BN battalion headquarters here at, and then the location is redacted. All right, and we discovered a poster of Jesus firing a mortar round that was left over at the previous unit by the previous unit that we rotated in place of, and that unit's name is redacted, but you can actually see the unit's name. You can actually see the unit's name. It's redacted, but it's public. It's public information. Here you go. Here you go, right here. Here's the battalion name. I think that's battalion Regiment 60, Infantry Regiment 60. We read that earlier, right? Combat team, right? There you go. So if you want to copy paste that, those are the scoundrels. All right. These are your world leaders, man, from the top down to the bottom. Right. Let's go back to this. All right. So redacted. The building where we found it was used for the headquarters company of that unit. This really concerned me. That previous unit concerned me that the previous unit would have something like this, especially concerning reports of commanders in the Middle East telling their soldiers that the war with Iran is a holy war and God anointed Trump to bring the apocalypse. I'll let every man do to their own with whatever they want to do with this information. But what we're telling you is that in the scriptures, we see that in Second Esdras, the military and the world powers will go to war together. Now, this ain't a TikTok thing. This ain't an Instagram. I took time to sit down and read this to you. Yeah, you can watch a TikTok. You can watch Instagram. Yeah, cool, all that good stuff. But a lot of those things are not real. A lot of those are misinformation. Some of them are real, and you can go and look them up later. I just want to give you this link, give you this information.
Hi there. It's currently 12 p.m. with a current temperature of
12 p.m. Let you check this information out for yourself. It is real. It's real. Is real. Let's come over here real quick. We're going to let this video play.
On June 14th, 1946, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God gave us Trump. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, fix this country, work all day, fight the Marxists, eat supper, then go to the Oval Office and stay past midnight at a meeting of the heads of state. So God made Trump.
I'm sorry, what scripture is that? I'm sorry, what scripture is that? Look at all these fuzzy hot dogs, man. Look at all these fuzzy hot dogs, man. Standing around patting this dude on his butt, man. What I really want to do is I want to go into the leaders. I want to go into the Roman leaders. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. Get the Faustinus, get the Caligulas, and I want to show you how a lot of them died because of their pride. They were destroyed in some of the most gruesome ways. Worms coming out of their nose, you know, and these men are on that blatant road to destruction. What scripture is that? I got to hear that again. Hold on, wait.
1946, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God gave us Trump. God said, I need somebody.
I need a caretaker. So God gave us Trump. Is that in reference to Genesis? Is that what we're doing? Is
willing to get up before dawn, fix this country, work all day, fight the Marxists, eat supper, then go to the Oval Office and stay past midnight at a meeting of the heads of state. So God made Trump.
oh wow.
I need somebody with arms, strong enough to rustle the deep
This nigga Trump got the littlest arms in the world, and he got tiny hands too. Have y'all seen the pictures of Donald Trump holding a hamburger? It is hilarious.
state, and yet gentle enough to deliver his own grandchild.
This man is not gentle at all, and there's also reports and videos of him not only on Epstein Island, but also with his daughter, and alleged claims, which I can't validate that, but it's pretty gross, you know what I'm saying? Hey, if she's my daughter, she's a hot one, she's a looker, boy, I'd surely take her. I've seen those videos. So I'm not feeling the whole, no.
Somebody to ruffle the feathers, tame cantankerous World Economic Forum, come home hungry, have to wait until the First Lady is done with lunch with friends, then tell the ladies to be sure and come back real soon.
I watch everything. Why did they put that in? Is that a purposeful blooper that she almost got broke right there? That's what's up though, because it was cool. Because like, yeah, I got your back, honey. You like,
and come back real soon.
He kept her from falling. That was good. I like they kept her from falling. That was really good. That was so sweet.
And mean it. So God gave us Trump.
That is something else. That is something else. So completely blasphemous. All right. So keep your eyes open. I'm not gonna stay on here long. I got to do a video on Hater 101, something like that. How to spot a hater 101. You know what I'm saying? It's basically a reading about the same subject matter. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us have North American Indian tribe of Gad in us. Gad had a serious problem, but it wasn't just Gad who had a problem. The spirit went throughout Passover. All right. So we'll talk about that another time. All right. I hope that you will take time to not only pray for yourself, pray for your families, but know that you are in the middle of a holy war where Trump is seen as the Messiah.